Hey, it's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and where else would I be but here with you? DJ Stutz here with Little Hearts Academy and Imperfect Heroes podcast. You can see I'm kind of relegated to a bedroom right now. You know, we're staying with my son as we're building a home in eastern Idaho. And we have homework going on upstairs, and my granddaughter is playing Minecraft with her dad, which is a lot of fun. We just finished some fun games, Candyland. It's been a while for me, and that's so much fun. And so I'm downstairs in the basement in the bedroom, which is the perfect place for me today, right? Okay, so we're going to have so much fun talking, and I want to share with you some of the things that I have going on so that you can be aware of them. I still have the Getting Most of Your Parent-Teacher Conference workshop. So it's just about an hour long, but it's going to fill you in with the questions that teachers wish parents would ask. Sometimes I would just ask them for my parents. I'm sure you're wondering about this. Oh, yeah. So things that you can do to prepare. You're only going to get 15, if you're really lucky, 20 minutes to talk to a teacher about everything that's going on with your child. That really isn't a lot of time. And so you're going to want to be able to know how to use that time wisely. And this workshop will cover all of that for you. So you'll walk in totally prepared and knowing how to get the answers that you need to help your child. And so it's usually $20. I've cut it down to 10 for fun. and so you can get that at the website, www.littleheartsacademyusa.com. And there we are. The other thing that I have coming up that I'd really love for you guys, and I'm starting to get some registrations for that, and so that's pretty exciting, is the 5-day challenge coming up. So it's going to start November 7th, and it will go to the 11th, 7 to 11. And we're just going to have 5 days of gratitude. So we're going to be talking about just remembering on your own, things that you can do for yourself. And then we're going to talk about things that you can do for your kids to help them recognize and be grateful for the things that are around them. And then we're going to take that gratitude. It's one thing to be grateful, it's another to act on it. And so we're going to be doing that for just those 5 days. And once that's over on the 11th, I am going to open up my Cicerone Society, which is the group coaching. A Cicerone is a mentor or a tutor, and isn't that what we are for our kids? And so that's our group coaching, and that's going to be opening up on the 11th, and it will be only open for 10 days. I only open it for 3 times in a year because, you know, it's always hard when you're constantly adding on new people, and the people who are already there and moving along, it's just really not fair to them. So we just open it all up 3 times a year, and so it will not be opening up again for another 4 months after that. And then you've missed out on 4 months of great information, connections, laughs, support, understanding, all of those great things. Okay, so today I am talking about podcast number 69, and that is with Dr. Walt Karniski. And he is a specialist in pediatric neurology and knows specifically just those kids who are a little neurodiverse is what we call them. And all neurodiverse means is that your kid just processes things a little differently. So whether it's autism or ADHD or reactive attachment disorder, there's all kinds of ways that kids process things, and we love to put labels on, don't we? And so that is a label that we put on. And we also talk about sometimes kids are just busy. I mean, the signs of ADHD are really like that of a 2-year-old. 2-year-olds have those great big feelings, those great big emotions. They don't stop moving. And that's just part of being 2, right? Boy or girl. Boys sometimes a little more than girls. Actually, boys oftentimes a little more than girls, but girls get in on that too. They have those big feelings as well. They might process them a little more differently. Sorry, I'm thirsty. There we go. They might process those feelings a little differently, but I mean, girls can be aggressive too. I've got my granddaughter who is 4, and yeah, when she gets mad, she'll go after her brother, and he's so patient. It's like, really. Anyway, don't get me off on my grandkids. So, what to think? Like, when do you really start thinking, well, are they really just young and they're learning how to manage all of that? Or should I get them checked and see if there's something else that's going on? And so we talk about that. And then if it does come back with a diagnosis, let's say, of ADHD or some of the other neurodiverse labels we put on kids, it's not the end of the world. There are some amazing people who have ADHD. In fact, the richest man in the world is ADHD. And I mean, the billionaires that I can think of, Elon Musk is, he's on the autism spectrum. We've got Branson, I forget his first name, but he has Virgin Airline and that he's ADHD. Bill Gates has it. So let's think about how, we react as a parent. Because maybe it's a good thing. Maybe they have all that energy to spend on different things, looking at the world, thinking outside of the box. Those kids are great at that. And so we want to build on that, right? What they're good at. What are you good at? And then let's build on that. And so one of the things that we talk about is medication or not. And there's a lot of feelings about either side. And I'm fine with whatever you decide because you know your child and you are going to look for what's best for him. But he did tell me a few things that I was really surprised at, like the number of ADHD medications there are out there. I was shocked. And all the research then that's out there. And they talked about, they've done studies with adults who have ADHD and those who used medication when in childhood and those who did not. And then they've also studied kids who were medicated, as a child and then didn't get medicated as an adult. And then those who continued that on through adulthood. We talk about all of that research and and all of that research and all of the knowledge that we have, the data that's coming through on that. Now, I'll let you know that in 2 weeks, I have another doctor, and she is a researcher on brain training. And we talk with her about some of the neurodiversities. And so you're going to get a variety of ideas on things that you can do. My feeling is that it's not just one thing. There's not just one answer. And so if you've got kids who, are working with that, who are dealing with that, then I think that you can't just say, oh, we're just going to medicate him. That may be part of the answer. That may be part of what you want to do. But I think that you're going to want to transition other things in with it, right? Think about on days that we're off, right? It's not just one thing that caused it. It may be we didn't get enough sleep, and then we had a rough time with our boss, and we're not feeling too well, and so all those things will pile on. And that's kind of how we work with the opposite way with healing with ADHD, right? And so anyway, it's just a great conversation. He is so knowledgeable, and his credentials are like through the roof. It's crazy. But one of the things though that I learned with my little ADHD experience is they're just going to need time. They're going to need time to work through and to process. And you're going to have to tell them like maybe 100 times, but that's realistic actually. So as I've done my own research in just teaching kids, and you have all of that continuing education and stuff that you do, and you're always taking classes to stay up on it as a teacher. And one of the things that I learned is that it's in the realm of normalcy. Some kids are going to get, when you try to teach them something new, they'll get it in 3 or 4 times. Other kids, it may take literally 100 times. And even the kids that it takes 100 times is in the realm of normal. It's on the high end of normal, but it's in there. And so some kids, and when you think about who we had last week with Dr. Danny Brissell, and he was talking about kids who, can't read and how we can bring that in. Really, sometimes it's just finding the right motivator and something that they're really interested and excited about. If you know someone, or if you have a child that has ADHD, you've seen it happen. You've seen it when they are working on something that really interests them. They're all about it. They will stick with it and they'll work with it and they'll go away and then they'll come back to it, and they're really good at that, right? And so a lot of times when we're talking, whether it's about education or how to behave with our friends or whatever it is, it's finding that right motivator that's really going to grab their interest and excite them, and then they're going to want to know more about it. So if you've got a kiddo that, whether it's ADHD or not, or whether it's just something that they are just have some trouble concentrating, or they're just a busy kid, they don't like to sit still, that doesn't mean they have ADHD, by the way, right? It could be other things. It could just be they're just busy. But if you have a kid like that, and then they're really interested in football, right? And you start talking about the teams and the stats. They get stats when it's about win-loss ratios and, sacking the quarterback and how many interceptions and what was their, throw rate compared to how many, catches there are. I'm not using my official terms, sorry, and I am a football fan, but anyway, they will pick up on that, and all of a sudden, math becomes easy because it's not math, it's football. Reading becomes easy because it's not reading, it's football. Or it's dinosaurs. Or it's the abyss. I had kids, I've usually done the ocean, a series on the ocean at some point during the year, and it's funny, the girls like the sunlight zone where all the cute little pretty fish are and the starfish and all those fun things. And no, I'm just saying in generalities, because I've had girls that are all about the abyss as well, but those where the scary ones are, and bioluminescence, and it's funny how I've had kids in speech that can tell me about bioluminescence, right? And so it's an amazing thing when you find what it is that floats their boat. And so it may be a combination of a lot of these things. There's diet, right? There's exercise. You know me, are they getting enough sleep? That is key for anyone. And the reality is that these strategies work on kids without any ADHD or whatever. The typical kids, it works on them as well. You might not need to be as intense with it, but it's the same strategies that we're working on. And so if you think, oh, I don't need to listen. I don't have a kid with ADHD. I don't have anyone that's autistic or whatever. My kids are, typical. Then you still want to listen because there are some great ideas and strategies. And in addition, it may not be your kid, but maybe it's a niece or a nephew or a grandchild or the neighbor kid, my child's best friend, and you're like, oh gosh, he's a tornado. Well, yeah, yeah. And so now you can be that supportive adult that's in their life and understand with them, be patient with them, understand that you're going to have to repeat things, right? You might have to keep a little closer eye if they're used to being involved and tearing things apart, right? But you understand that it's just their brain working on whatever it is. That's they're kind of messy in their thought process, and so they tend to be messy in the way they play. And so when you understand that, then even if it's not your child, but it's a child that is in your life for whatever reason, then you and your child can be supportive to that child, right? Instead of saying, oh, don't play with Joey, he's always in trouble. Oh, don't bring Susie over. It's just always a mess when she comes. Instead of saying that and more isolating the child that really doesn't need that, and it will actually hurt that child, you can be the person that steps up, you understand, you've learned, and you know what to do to help enhance the life of another human being, especially a lovely child, and we can move forward with that. So you're going to get more information if you listen to the podcast. So this week it is Dr. Karniski. Next week is episode 70. I can't even believe it. And that's with Bailey Olson again. It ends in a 0. And we are talking about when those big emotions come out and you've got a temper tantrum. And, right? We've all been there. We've all been, and it's never the best time. Is there really a best time, right? I know people say, oh, and it was such a bad time. Is there a good time for them to have, a temper tantrum and to get mad and start kicking and screaming and yelling and hitting and biting and all those things that kids can do? Doesn't mean they have ADHD, but they do have those big feelings. And so next week, that's what Bailey and I are talking about. And then the week after that, I have got Dr. Amy Moore, and we're talking about training your brain. And this works for adults as well as kids, but we're really concentrating on training the brains of our little guys to be able to manage through life. What a fun series we've got going on here. And then we'll, after that, we'll be starting in with some of the holiday topics. So a lot of great fun things coming up. If you don't want to miss any of this, so go to my website, www.imperfectheroes.com. You'll be able to get the link to the podcast, but you can also sign up for our mailing list. And I just put a weekly newsletter out. I don't inundate you. Your information is safe with me, because I don't want my stuff sold. I don't want your stuff sold. And so we'll be getting up-to-date information on all of the cool stuff that's coming up, and that can help you. If you want to be involved with the gratitude, I think I can put the link in the comments here, but grab a friend, sign up. It's fun. It's no cost to you, but it's a lot of fun, and it's more fun. Oh, excuse me. It's more fun when you do it with friends, isn't it? Well, what isn't? And so anyway, until next week, let's find joy in parenting. Bye guys. See you later.